Can you briefly introduce yourself and your experience working with students?
Yeah, so I'm Catherine Morris. I'm a school psychologist in Guilford County Schools, and I serve two different schools here, an elementary and a middle. And so, kind of my primary role here is to evaluate students with suspected disabilities within our special education programs. That could be students who struggle to learn, may also have like mental health problems. That might need some supports. And then I also collaborate with teachers and school teams to help put like interventions in place, work with families, and do observations and things like that to help support students.
What are some common signs of academic stress you see in students?
Yeah, so I think there's been a lot of stress, especially after the pandemic. So I feel like there's a lot more anxiety, especially working at the middle school I serve. Just a lot of stress and pressure. And then in the elementary level, I see a lot of that as well, but also a lot of frustration and low frustration tolerance when students aren't making progress or aren't grasping concepts. Sometimes we see like more acting out behavior or even some like internalizing anxiety.
So how does academic stress impact a student's mental health and overall well-being?
Yeah, I would say that's a big link that, especially in the early years, being able to please your teachers and perform academically is such a big part of this stage of development. So I definitely see students struggling to, when they're not in a good place with their mental health, they struggle to perform, and vice versa. When they're not performing academically, they struggle to kind of maintain their emotions. So I definitely see the two linked a lot.
So what unique challenges contribute to academic stress among students from disadvantaged communities?
Yeah, so I agree with that. A lot of the schools both of the schools that I serve are Title I schools, meaning our students have a lot of stressors and even trauma outside of the school environment. And so a lot of times students who have those kind of stressors outside of school, of course, impact their academic performance because they're trying to meet their basic needs and having, a place to sleep, a warm bed. Even when they go home, there might be a lot of other things that take priority just in their life. And then school sometimes and learning takes a backseat. There's also a lot of research, showing that when you have a lot of trauma or stressors outside of school, that can impact your ability to perform, even though you're intelligent, you have a lot of skills. When you're in that kind of survival mode, it puts you in that flight or fight. And so it can definitely impact your ability to perform, manage your emotions, things like that.
Yeah. So what strategies can students use to manage and prevent academic stress?
Yeah, so I would say to manage, reach out to trusted school staff. Especially we are, I think, improving at becoming more trauma informed and understanding students as a whole and what types of things can support them. So I would say trying to find that trusted adult and getting linked up. There's a lot of protective factors. If you can find a club or a teacher or just somebody that you can trust, and finding that community of support, they can work with you. But even things like deep breathing exercises or having, taking a break are just some small things. But I think finding that trusted adult to build that community is a good one.
Yeah. So what's the most important message you'd like to share with parents and students about managing academic stress?
I would say just being open and communicating with the school. We have teachers and a lot of support staff who want to support students, and sometimes we don't even always know what's going on in a family's life. So I would say just communicating and being open so that the school can be open with you about what we're seeing with the student, but that the family can also be open with the student school team so that we can kind of work together. We want to collaborate and kind of support the family. So And there's a lot of great resources on like GCS's website and online about how to talk to students about academic stress or mental health needs. I feel like a lot of times we want to avoid the topic and we think that's going to make it worse, but it doesn't. So being open, checking in with your student frequently, in a developmentally appropriate way, of course, but being open and honest about those conversations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.